everyone, and welcome back to the Christian Baptist Church series on living free. Today we're going to have an activity on how to be angry the right way. Anger is a full topic, and so I don't know if I can jam-pack all that you need to know about supporting your children when it comes to their anger today, but I do want to help break it down a little bit, and then how we can help your children direct or manage their anger in a way that is honoring God in everything that we do. So first I'm going to start with giving a few ground rules when it comes to talking to your children about anger. First, don't talk to them about anger when they're angry. We know through research that when children or people in general are angry, they literally flip their lids when it comes to their brain activity and their ability to reasonably talk through the situation. Number two, when we're talking to children about anger, it's important that they acknowledge what makes them angry and that we understand why it makes them angry. And then third, it is important that children own their anger or any of their emotions. So the first thing we need to talk about is anger is actually not sin, right? So the Bible in Ephesians 4:26 says, "In your anger, do not sin." So that just tells me that there is a time to be angry, but what we experience most often with ourselves and with our children is that they're often angry about the wrong things. So that's what we need to get to the root of, is why they're angry, and if it's for the right reason, how they handle their anger. This activity today is going to be mostly for our older kids because it's a little bit more complex of a conversation. However, if you have younger kids, I encourage you to start talking to them about all of their emotions. You can do that through song or just putting different faces on a balloon so they can bat it around and just start that conversation about what does it look like to be angry? What does it look like to be happy? What does it look like to be sad? And then talk about what that is in their bodies. When they're angry, what is their bodies doing? So first, you want to make sure for our younger kids or even our older kids that they understand the different emotions, including anger, and what their bodies are doing. Like I said before, our bodies react, and that's telling us that we need to do something. So maybe you have a child that stomps their feet or wants to punch something or ready to knock over a toy. It's because their bodies are just needing some kind of a reaction. And so often a way to help calm them down is using their bodies. So today our activity is going to be using their bodies, but the second thing that I want us to talk about is the root of the problem. And this is why I'm leaving it for our older children, because I want them to really understand what is causing their anger. And just like we read in Ephesians that we are to not sin in our anger, and we have Jesus as a example to us that he got angry when it came to the church taking money or taking advantage of the people. Jesus was very angry because that was an offense to our God and what our God stands for. So he was physically angry, where he got to the point throwing tables and used that physical reaction that we were just talking about. So here's our activity. As you can see behind me, I taped it to the wall, but really I just used some wrapping paper and I drew a bunch of circles. If you have a Twister, the game Twister mat, or if you have sidewalk chalk, you can do this game outside as well. And this will just kind of be like the game Twister. But instead of our little spinning board, we're just going to have a deck of cards that you create. Again, I just used, note cards or whatever I had. If you have just regular paper, that's fine too. So now as a family, everybody together, we're going to talk about what are some things that make us upset. So I just came up with some things I think would be common, but I want you to come up with a lot of different activities. So as a parent, you might say, when your children don't clean their room. after you've probably asked them to do it more than once. You might start feeling frustrated that your children are not listening to you and obeying you like they should. And you can take them back to the Bible, where the Bible does say for children to obey their parents. You have that on your side. Or maybe it makes you angry like it does me when someone is making fun of someone because they are different. Maybe they speak differently, or maybe they walk differently, or maybe they think differently. But it's never okay to make fun of other people because God created them and God loves them, and that is a big offense to God. So that's a good reminder for us. What about your children? They might say, Mom or Dad says I couldn't go to my friend's house. And they may think there is no good reason that my parents said I couldn't go to my friend's house. Well, let's think about that. That is frustrating, I'm sure. But is that an offense to God? That's a good conversation to have, and it's a good card to have out here. So those are just a few examples. The other thing that you would add into your deck of cards are ways that you could respond to anger. Again, these are positive ways that you could respond to anger, and maybe negative ways that you could respond to anger. It could be something like telling your friend how you feel in a calm way. So again, we don't want to ignore how we feel. It's important to express your anger, but to do it in a calm way. And the point of that conversation is to work it out so you're not angry anymore. And they're still your friend. It's a win-win for everybody when we try to work things out in a positive way. Another way you could respond to anger is not talking to someone because you were upset with them. So again, that is a way you could respond in anger. But is that a good way, or is that a positive way? That's part of the game, so we're going to find out. So once you have this and your cards all filled out, or the kids, I really want the kids to do all this, actually give less work for yourself. Once your children have all this worked out, then the object of the game is you or someone in your family is going to pick a card, any card, and then you're going to read it out loud. Mom or Dad says you can't go to your friend's house. Which of these circles does that represent? So our circles are me. So it's an offense to me. God. Is it an offense to God? Am I responding in love? Or am I responding in anger? So there's 4 categories that we're talking about. So we really want our children to understand the root of the anger that we're talking about on these cards and our reaction to that anger. And the idea is if they put their right hand on me because Mom or Dad not letting me to go to my friend's house is definitely an offense to me. I don't think God finds that offensive. Then the next question that you come up with, they would use their left hand, and then their right foot, and then their left foot. And if you have multiple people, they're all mixed together, just like in the game Twister, and it gets fun and crazy and whatever. So I encourage this to be a family activity. Invite your neighbors over. It's always fun to have more kids. If you have a child that really loves activity and just needs to get rid of some energy, I'm sure we all can imagine that energy you need to get rid of, especially cooped up in home. Another way to do this is to kind of make it a race. So you might find in your backyard, if you have a good backyard space, that each corner represents one of these 4 categories. And when you read out a card, everybody races to that corner, and then the first one there wins a point or something like that. But that will help get some of that energy out. So there's many different ways that you can use this activity. I would be happy to help you with more ideas for that. But the idea again is help your children understand and recognize this emotion of anger in themselves, find the root of why they're angry, and then really think about how we're choosing to respond in our anger. Is it pushing people to God because we're responding in love? or is it really taking people away from God because all they see is the anger that is in you at that moment? Hopefully you've enjoyed this activity. It is a really big topic and subject. So again, if there is more information or if there's any way that we can support you with this information, please just reach out. We would be happy to give you more activities, more ways to support your children. But we invite you to come back on Sunday because, again, we're back doing part 5 of our series, Living Free.